My brother claimed I was the problem. He told everyone I was jealous, unstable, a liar. He convinced our entire family that I was trying to destroy him. Until the lawyer walked in with documents that proved everything. And when the truth came out, he had nowhere to hide. My name is Emily. I'm 29 years old. I grew up in a small town in North Carolina with my older brother, Marcus. We were close once. Best friends, even. But that was before the inheritance. Before the lies. Before he decided that stealing from me was easier than being honest. Our grandmother died 2 years ago. She was 93. Sharp as a tack until the very end. She left behind a significant estate. A house in Charlotte worth $600,000. Investment accounts. Savings bonds. Life insurance. Altogether, about $1.2 million. Her will was clear. She left everything to be split equally between Marcus and me. 50-50. Down the middle. No ambiguity. No room for interpretation. That's what she wanted. That's what she wrote. That's what the will said. Marcus was named executor. He was the oldest. He had a business degree. He seemed responsible. Grandma trusted him. So did I. That was my first mistake. The estate took 6 months to settle. During that time, Marcus handled everything. The house sale. The accounts. The distributions. He told me he was working with an estate attorney. He said everything was being done properly. He sent me updates. Emails. Spreadsheets. It all looked legitimate. Then one day, he called me. Emily, good news. Everything's finalized. Your share comes to $250,000. I'll wire it tomorrow. I was confused. The math didn't add up. Wait. 250? The estate was worth over $1 million. My half should be. There were expenses. Estate taxes. Legal fees. Debts Grandma had. It all adds up. Something felt wrong. But I didn't have proof. Not yet. I asked Marcus for documentation. Receipts. Invoices. An accounting of all the expenses. He sent me a PDF. It was 15 pages long. Line items. Numbers. Descriptions. It looked professional. But when I read through it carefully, things didn't make sense. Estate attorney fees. $65,000. That seemed high. I Googled average estate attorney costs. Most charged between 3 and 7%. On $1 million estate, that should have been $30,000 to $70,000. 65 was on the high end, but possible. But then I saw the next line. Estate management fees. $80,000. I called Marcus immediately. What are estate management fees? That's what I charged for handling everything. Executor compensation. It's standard. $80,000 is standard? Emily, I spent 6 months on this. Meetings. Paperwork. Selling the house. Transferring accounts. I'm entitled to compensation. But $80,000? It's within legal limits. Executors can take up to 5% in North Carolina. I took less than that. I did the math. 5% of $1.2 million was $60,000. He'd taken more than the legal limit. But he didn't know I'd checked. Marcus, 5% of the estate is $60,000. You took 80. Silence. The percentages vary depending on the complexity. This was a complex estate. Show me the court order approving your fees. I don't need court approval unless someone objects. I'm objecting now. Emily, you're being paranoid. I spent half a year on this. I deserve to be compensated. Then show me the receipts. Show me the invoices from the attorney. Show me the tax documents. I already sent you the accounting. I want the original documents. Not a summary. The actual paperwork. Why don't you trust me? Because the numbers don't add up. He hung up. That was the moment I knew. He was hiding something. And I was going to find out what. I hired a probate attorney the next day. Her name was Karen Mitchell. She had 20 years of experience. She'd handled hundreds of estate disputes. I brought her everything Marcus had sent me. The accounting. The emails. The will. She read through it in silence. When she finished, she looked up. This doesn't look right. That's what I thought. First, these estate management fees are excessive. North Carolina allows executor compensation, but $80,000 is way over the statutory limit. Second, I don't see any court filings here. In North Carolina, executors are required to file an inventory and accounting with the court within 3 months. Did your brother file anything? I don't know. How do I find out? We pull the probate records. It's public information. If he filed properly, it'll be in the court system. If he didn't, that's a major problem. She made a call. 10 minutes later, she had an answer. There's no probate filing for your grandmother's estate. I stared at her. What does that mean? It means your brother never opened a formal probate case. He handled everything outside the court system. That's legal in some situations, but only if the estate qualifies for small estate administration. Your grandmother's estate was worth over $1 million. It doesn't qualify. He was required to go through formal probate. He didn't. Why would he avoid probate? Because probate requires transparency. Inventories. Accountings. Court oversight. If he wanted to hide something, avoiding probate would make it easier. My stomach dropped. What could he be hiding? Assets. Expenses. Distributions. Without court supervision, he could have done anything. Taken more than his share. Underreported the value. Created fake expenses. We won't know until we dig deeper. How do we do that? We file a petition to compel an accounting. We force him to provide every document, every receipt, every transaction. And if he refuses, the court will order it. Let's do it. Karen filed the petition the following week. It was a formal legal demand. Marcus had 30 days to provide a complete accounting of the estate. Every asset, every expense, every distribution. If he didn't comply, the court would hold him in contempt. He was served at his house. A process server handed him the papers on a Saturday morning. He called me 2 hours later. He was furious. What the hell are you doing, Emily? I'm exercising my legal rights. You refused to show me the documents. So now the court will make you. You're suing me? Your own brother. I'm asking for an accounting. That's not a lawsuit. It's a request for transparency. This is insane. I handled everything properly. You're just being paranoid and vindictive. Then prove it. Show the court the documents. If everything's legitimate, you have nothing to worry about. You're tearing this family apart over money. No, Marcus. You did that when you decided to steal from me. I didn't steal anything. Then where's the rest of the money? Silence. I already explained the expenses. Fake expenses. Inflated fees. I know what you did. And now everyone else will too. He hung up. But this time, I wasn't shaken. I was ready. 3 weeks later, Marcus filed a response. His attorney argued that the accounting I'd received was sufficient. That formal probate wasn't required because Grandma's assets were held in beneficiary designations and joint accounts. That I was harassing him with frivolous claims. Karen read the response and smiled. He's lying. Life insurance and joint accounts pass outside probate, but the house didn't. The investment accounts didn't. Those had to go through probate. He's trying to confuse the issue. What happens now? Now we go to court. And we make him answer questions under oath. The hearing was scheduled for 6 weeks later. During those 6 weeks, Marcus went on the offensive. He didn't just defend himself. He attacked me. He called our aunts, our uncles, our cousins. He told them I was greedy, that I was trying to take his share of the inheritance, that I was accusing him of crimes he didn't commit. He painted himself as the victim, the devoted grandson who'd spent months handling Grandma's estate out of love and duty. And me? I was the ungrateful sister who'd turned on him over money. It worked. My family believed him. They called me, texted me, told me I was out of line. Marcus worked so hard on that estate. How could you sue him? You're going to destroy this family over a few $1,000s? Grandma would be ashamed of you. I tried to explain. I sent them the numbers, the discrepancies, the missing probate filings. But they didn't want to hear it. Marcus was the golden child, the successful one, the responsible one. I was just the jealous little sister causing trouble. My Aunt Linda called me one night. She was crying. Emily, please drop this. Marcus is falling apart. You're destroying him. I'm not destroying him. I'm asking him to tell the truth. He did tell the truth. You just don't want to accept it. Aunt Linda, he took over $300,000 that should have been mine. He lied about the expenses. He avoided probate so no one would find out. I have proof. You have paranoia. And you're letting it ruin this family. She hung up. I sat there alone in my apartment, wondering if I was doing the right thing. Then I looked at the documents again. The fake invoices, the inflated fees, the missing court filings. And I knew I had to keep going. Not for the money, for the truth. The hearing was on a Thursday morning. I wore a black suit. Karen brought 3 binders full of evidence. Marcus showed up with his attorney, a man named Robert Chen. Marcus looked confident. Smug, even. He thought he'd win. The judge was a man in his 60s. Judge William Harrington. He'd been on the bench for 30 years. He had a reputation for being thorough and fair. Karen presented our case first. She explained that Marcus had been named executor, that he'd avoided formal probate, that he'd provided an accounting that didn't match the estate's value, that he'd refused to provide supporting documents. Your Honor, we're asking the court to compel a full and complete accounting. Mr. Marcus Collins has a legal duty to provide transparency. He hasn't met that duty. Judge Harrington looked at Marcus's attorney. Mr. Chin, what's your response? Your Honor, my client provided an accounting. The estate was settled appropriately. Ms. Collins is dissatisfied with her distribution, but dissatisfaction isn't grounds for further proceedings. This is a fishing expedition. Is your client willing to provide supporting documentation? Receipts, invoices, bank statements. Mr. Chin hesitated. Some documentation was lost or discarded after the estate was closed. Lost or discarded? It's been 2 years, Your Honor. Not every receipt is retained indefinitely. Judge Harrington's expression hardened. Mr. Chin, executors are required to maintain estate records for at least 3 years. Your client is still within that window. Are you telling me he doesn't have the documents? We have some documents. Some isn't sufficient. Ms. Mitchell, what specific documents are you requesting? Karen handed him a list. Bank statements for all estate accounts. Closing statements from the house sale. Invoices from the estate attorney. Receipts for all claimed expenses. Distribution records showing where every dollar went. Mr. Chin, can your client provide these? Another hesitation. We'll need time to gather. How much time? 30 days. You have 14. If you don't comply, I'll hold your client in contempt. Marcus's attorney sent the documents on day 13. A digital file with over 200 pages. Bank statements. Invoices. Emails. It was a mess. Deliberately disorganized, I suspected. They thought we wouldn't find anything in the chaos. Karen and I spent 3 days going through everything. We made spreadsheets. We tracked every transaction. And slowly, the picture became clear. Marcus had lied about almost everything. The estate attorney fees weren't $65,000. They were $32,000. Marcus had inflated the number by $33,000. The invoice he'd sent me was fake. He'd created it himself. The house didn't sell for $550,000 like he claimed. It sold for $620,000. He'd pocketed the $70,000 difference. There were no estate management fees approved by any court. He'd simply paid himself $80,000 without authorization. And the investment accounts? They were worth more than he'd reported. He'd transferred $50,000 into his personal account before liquidating the rest. In total, Marcus had stolen over $380,000. Karen compiled everything into a report. She included bank records, forged invoices, transfer receipts. It was airtight, undeniable. Emily, this is worse than I thought. Your brother didn't just take extra compensation. He committed fraud. He forged documents. He misappropriated estate assets. This could be criminal. What do? We file an emergency motion. We ask the court to freeze his assets. We demand full restitution. And we report this to the district attorney. Your brother could face charges. Will I get the money back? If he still has it, yes. If he's spent it, we'll get a judgment against him. We can garnish his wages. Put liens on his property. He'll pay one way or another. Do it. Karen filed the motion that afternoon. The emergency hearing was scheduled for the following week. Marcus didn't look confident anymore. He looked terrified. His attorney tried to argue that the discrepancies were mistakes, accounting errors, misunderstandings. Judge Harrington wasn't buying it. Mr. Chin, your client submitted a fake invoice. He inflated attorney fees by $33,000. He underreported the house sale by $70,000. He transferred $50,000 from estate accounts into his personal account. These aren't mistakes. This is fraud. Your Honor, my client denies any intentional wrongdoing. Does he deny transferring $50,000 into his personal checking account? Silence. Does he deny that the estate attorney invoice was falsified? More silence. Mr. Chin, I'm ordering your client to return $380,000 to Ms. Collins within 30 days. I'm also referring this matter to the district attorney's office for criminal investigation. If your client doesn't comply, I'll issue a warrant for his arrest. Marcus stood up. His face was red. His hands were shaking. Your Honor, I don't have that money anymore. Sit down, Mr. Collins. I spent it. I paid off debts. I invested in a business. It's gone. Judge Harrington stared at him. Then you'll need to figure out how to pay it back. Sell assets. Take out loans. Liquidate investments. I don't care how you do it, but you will repay your sister. Do you understand? Marcus's legs gave out. He collapsed into his chair. His attorney put a hand on his shoulder, but Marcus shook it off. This is insane. She's my sister. She's destroying me over money. I stood up. I couldn't stay silent anymore. You destroyed yourself, Marcus. You stole from me. You lied to our family. You forged documents. You did this. Not me. He looked at me with pure hatred. I'll never forgive you for this. Good. Because I'll never forgive you either. The district attorney opened a criminal investigation 3 days later. They charged Marcus with fraud, forgery, and embezzlement. If convicted, he faced up to 10 years in prison. Marcus hired a criminal defense attorney. He tried to negotiate a plea deal. The DA's office offered him 2 years in prison and full restitution. Marcus refused. He wanted probation. No jail time. The DA said no. His preliminary hearing was scheduled for 2 months later. During that time, Marcus's life fell apart. His business failed. His wife left him. He moved back into our parents' old house, the one they'd sold before they retired. He was alone, broke, facing prison. Our family finally started to see the truth. Karen sent copies of the evidence to my Aunt Linda. The fake invoices, the bank transfers, the forged documents. Linda called me crying. Emily, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't believe you. I should have. It's okay. No, it's not. I called you greedy. I said Grandma would be ashamed. I was wrong. Other family members reached out too. Apologies. Support. Offers to testify against Marcus if needed. The family that had turned on me was now turning on him. But I didn't feel victorious. I felt hollow. My brother was going to prison. My family was shattered. And even though I'd been proven right, it didn't feel like winning. Karen called me one afternoon. Marcus's attorney reached out. He wants to settle. Full restitution. A guilty plea to reduce charges. 18 months in prison instead of 10 years. The DA is willing if you agree. Why do I need to agree? Because you're the victim. Your input matters. If you push for the maximum, the DA will go to trial. If you accept the plea, this ends. What do you think I should do? I thought about it for 3 days. Part of me wanted Marcus to suffer. To spend a decade in prison. To lose everything like he'd tried to make me lose everything. But another part of me was tired. Tired of fighting. Tired of anger. Tired of this nightmare. I called Karen. I'll accept the plea. 18 months. Full restitution. And he admits what he did. On the record. I want him to say it out loud. Done. The plea hearing was 2 weeks later. Marcus stood in front of Judge Harrington and pled guilty to fraud and embezzlement. The judge asked him to explain what he'd done. Marcus's voice was barely a whisper. I misappropriated funds from my grandmother's estate. I falsified documents. I took money that belonged to my sister. I lied to my family. I was wrong. Why did you do it? I had debts. I thought I could cover them and no one would notice. I was wrong. Did you consider how this would affect your sister? Marcus looked at me for the first time. His eyes were empty. No, I didn't. Judge Harrington sentenced him to 18 months in prison. Marcus was taken into custody immediately. I watched as the bailiff led him out of the courtroom. He didn't look back. Outside, Karen put a hand on my shoulder. You did the right thing. Then why do I feel so terrible? Because he's your brother. Because this is a tragedy. But it's a tragedy he created. You didn't do this to him. He did it to himself. I nodded. But it didn't make the pain go away. 2 weeks later, Marcus's attorney transferred the first payment. $50,000. The rest would come in installments over the next year. He'd sold his car. His business equipment. Everything he had. It still wasn't enough. Marcus is in prison now. 18 months. He'll be out in 14 with good behavior. I haven't visited him. I haven't written. I don't know if I ever will. The restitution payments come every month. 50,000 so far. 200,000 still owed. His attorney set up a payment plan. Garnished wages from a prison job. Liquidated assets. It'll take years to get it all back. But I will get it back. My family has tried to rebuild. Aunt Linda calls me every week. My cousins reach out. They apologize. They say they should have believed me. I tell them it's okay, even though part of me is still angry. They chose Marcus over me. They believed his lies without question. That's not something I can forget easily. But I'm trying to move forward. I used some of the restitution money to go back to school. I'm finishing my master's degree. I'm building a life that's mine. Not tied to Marcus. Not tied to the inheritance. Just mine. Sometimes I think about what Grandma would say if she knew what happened. She loved Marcus. She trusted him. Would she be disappointed in him? Or in me for sending him to prison? I'll never know. But I do know this. I stood up for myself. I refused to be stolen from. I refused to accept lies as truth. And I proved that even family, even blood, can't justify betrayal. My brother claimed I was the problem. He told everyone I was jealous, unstable, vindictive. Until the lawyer walked in with documents that exposed every lie. And when the truth came out, his world collapsed. I didn't destroy him. He destroyed himself. And I just made sure everyone saw it. If this story resonated with you, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.